Neil, not ideal biking weather, is it today?
No, I think you've got me out on one of the coldest days of the year. Thanks a lot, Jeff. I owe you one.
Well, not to worry. Do you get the chance to get out on the road much, or do you just have to grab a day like today then?
I've got to say, I do enjoy going out on the road, but it's pretty rare for me to get out on the road. Maybe 5-6 times a year, and it's nowhere near enough. You know, you get presented with a lovely bike like this, and you get to use it 5 or 6 times, which is a shame. But I am really, really busy this season, especially with the World Championships and also the Suzuka 8 Hour. So the weekends I get off, usually the last thing I want to do is ride a motorcycle. I just want to sit back and get over my jet lag. But no, it's a shame. And
because when you're going on the road, you've got to mix it with other people, not competitors, but sort of the tin boxes, and they get in the way. Cramp your style.
It's scary on the roads, I tell you. I've had some scary moments on the race circuits, and I've had a lot more scary moments on the roads. There's people coming at you from all directions trying to take you out. I don't know why. I'm on a bright green bike, but they don't seem to see me coming.
Oh no, we all know that problem there, don't we? Just how different is the road-going Kawasaki from the one that we see you on? I mean, because visually it looks exactly the same, but it's not quite.
Yeah, I'm impressed visually. I was surprised when they delivered it. How it's the exact replica of my race bike. You know, it looks the part certainly. When I ride it, I've not done that many miles on it. I've got to be honest. My first impression with the engine was I was really, really surprised. I knew it was going to be quite fast. I'd heard good reports, but you know, the bottom end acceleration was absolutely fantastic, which is very similar to my race bike. As far as the handling goes, it's difficult because you've got road tyres on, and when you've got slicks on my racing bike, I can push the bike so much harder into the corners. So that makes the bike feel a little bit lighter. The bike feels a little bit heavy compared to my racing bike, but it's close, you know, closer than any other bike I've ridden.
Yeah, but there's no way we could simply transplant that one and say, you race that one then next weekend.
I could, but I'd probably be a few more seconds off the pace, so I don't think the team would like that, and I certainly wouldn't. So.
While we're talking of the bike, big change for you this year from the big Duke, the big V-twin to a Transverse 4, but how did you find that? What's been the biggest difference between the two?
Well, they're so different, Jeff. You can't start to compare.
It's a job to pinpoint it.
It is. They are so different. You know, everything. I mean, from the chassis especially. I'm using different tyres this year. I'm using Dunlop tyres, which feels completely different to the Michelin tyres. The chassis is so different. The Ducati is a very rigid bike. You know, you'll have seen it on television. A Ducati doesn't want to slide. It doesn't tie itself in knots. Compared with the Kawasaki, which you've seen Anthony Gobert in the past, and Simon Crayford last year, the bike moves around a lot. It's a very flexible bike, which for me suits my riding style a lot. You know, I prefer the more relaxed sort of riding where the chassis gives you a lot of feel. So I always know what the tyres are doing underneath me. Where the Ducati it's a little bit like Russian roulette. I never knew what the tyres was doing. I could do a fast lap time, but I never knew when I was getting close to the edge or I was on the edge. Where the setup of this bike, I can push it, you know, 95%. I can feel it, and I know that I'm getting close to the edge. Right. So, there's a big difference with the chassis and tyres.
Did you find that last year's Duke then was a bit of an animal though compared with the previous one? Because I mean, I know that Carl had all sorts of problems with it, didn't he?
It was a little bit. It was a little bit worse, but not big.
Markedly so.
No. For Carl, I think. He had it quite lucky in '95. I think the Ducati was head and shoulders above the rest. And when he then jumped on the bike in '97, he realised that everybody else had caught up, and he had to ride the Ducati 2 seconds a lap faster. And you know, the Ducati, he didn't want to know. And all of a sudden, from the bike being a user-friendly bike, for Carl, it was a beast. It
started biting back, didn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And what about engine delivery? We hear a lot about the Ducatis and the way you can stunk out of corners and all the rest of it. This is a creamier power delivery, is it?
I've never heard that term used before, creamier, but...
well, it's smooth,
it's smooth. No, I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah, cream with lumps in then? No?
Yeah, well, if that's what you want to say. No, it's very different to the Ducati.
Yeah.
These things, I can't believe how much they rev. You know, when I first tested my race bike and the team manager said, I said, what do I rev it to? And he said, about 14,500.
Yeah.
And I was like, you what? I was changing at like 11,000 on the Ducati. The Kawasaki, my race bike, it's top end. It's got a lot of top end power. It's very, very fast. Where the Ducati was grunt. You know, it was punch out of the corners. These bikes, if you let the revs drop, let's say below 8,000, you know, it's a waste of time riding it. You've got to keep it singing. You've got to keep
More
it
like a two-stroke then. very
definitely,
much.
yeah, a lot more like. In fact, it's very, very similar to the way, you know, I rode a 500.
Yeah.
It was very difficult for me to get used to riding the Ducati. It took a lot of test sessions before I got used to, you know, this short shifting and just using the torque of the bike. I was always getting in trouble off the technicians for revving the bike too hard.
Right.
Where now it's full role reversal. I'm in trouble with Kawasaki with all my technicians saying, "Wait, just rev the thing," and I'm saying, you know, but it sounds like it's going to blow up. And they're saying, "You're not on a Ducati. It's not going to blow up. This bike's, you know, this is built for endurance. It, you know, it won't go bang on you." So I've been revving it.